Welcome to the Aki Culture Club. What's up, everyone? I'm your co-founder, Damien.
And I'm Nick.
Nick, are you ready to kick off the 40th club meeting?
40 meetings already, Damien.
40? That's
Let's
wild.
kick this off.
Let's do it. What's poppin', Nick?
Dude, I'm here and I'm in 1080p crystal clear.
You may not be feeling good, but you be looking good, though. I'll be saying that.
Yeah, sorry for the congestion, but I got a little bit of a cold going on.
You don't got the vid.
I did test. No vid.
No vid.
Cold.
Just cold. It's that changing the seasons.
Yeah, you can get sick and not have COVID. That's a thing.
That's a thing now.
Yeah, I was just telling you, like, I played kickball earlier this week, and my girlfriend who I live with is sick, and I felt guilty saying, "Oh, my girlfriend's sick," because everyone gave me like the crazy eyes, like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "Dude, it's just a cold. It's okay. I'm keep my distance.
I keep my distance. I keep my mask on. It's just a cold." But man, you get those evil eyes. They start looking at you like, They don't want nothing to do with you. It's like leper status out here.
Yeah, the world we live in now, man.
It's a lot different than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, only 2 years, but let's not get political or, we're here for anime.
We're here for anime. We do this as an escape.
Yes. Fantasy.
It's the fantasy from away from all of those things anyway. But Nick, we have had so many good shows this week.
Oh my God, dude. My notes are like 3 pages long.
Dude, because so long.
Heavy hitters, lots of action, some comedy. It's
lots of thoughts, lots of things I've been thinking about. Even our like Moonlit Fantasy was like not even a slow. It wasn't, not that it's normally slow, but this week it felt like there was a lot more going on than normal.
Action packed, and like people were fighting, and we finally see a little bit of consequences having these OP characters. Because are we in Moonlit?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's roll right into it.
Yeah, so the lizard men and the ogres are getting discouraged because they're not strong enough to really do anything to any of like the main three when they're fighting. So tournament arc ish is the comeback or the outcome of that.
Yes, they're making them fight like mini tournaments every week to be able to like get a little bit stronger, which is like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, you think, or at least I thought anyway, that their armies were just kind of like background characters. Like, oh yeah, we kind of have an army that fights for us, but like they're actually being brought into the show, which I thought was really interesting because my first thought when I saw this was, oh, this is like clearly setting up for like a war with an incoming enemy.
Yeah. So our main three, Tomoe, Mio, and the MC, who I can't even. What is his name?
It's Makoto.
Makoto. Is it? Because that's Makoto and Peach Boy too.
I think it's Makoto. I think it's Makoto and Moonlit Fantasy, and Makoto and Peach Boy Riverside.
Okay. I should know this. I've been watching it for 10 weeks now. But anyway, they can't just be the end all be all. Like we said in our last episode, where we think that like all out war is kind of on the horizon, and they need an army for that. So can't just have a bunch of chumps walking around the demiplane. They need to be strong.
That's totally true.
Yeah. Did you feel bad for the orcs, the ogres, and the whatever they are, and the lizards when Tomoe was given that speech and she's like, "You guys are all pathetic."
You guys are absolutely terrible. I did feel pretty bad for them because it was like, geez, like they're kind of like roped into this like without really any consent, and then they're trying their best, and it's like, it's funny because Tomo is, and this is a trope that keeps recurring in the show, is not stronger than Mio whatsoever. So it's like even you're not even the strongest in this bunch.
Yeah.
And well, I guess it's okay, but Mio is definitely stronger than Tomo.
You got a human who's just like overpowered because he comes from the human world. You have a dragon god and a giant ass spider they're both human form. So like, of course these poor lizard men are not going to be as strong as you.
Of course they can't do anything. Like, and then and they clearly just beat them down so much. And I did feel really bad for them. But it felt like Tomo has her own little crew now that she's built up. Are they like her like her upper echelon soldiers that she wanted to like train. Did you get that vibe?
Are you talking about the lizardmen or the people that she was training?
The people that she was training.
So she was training them because the guild, they kicked the shit out of all the guild members. So like they're all retiring or injured, and they're like, we have nobody to do anything. Can you help us and train someone else to be the replacement? So Mikoto was like, oh yeah, we got this crew who might be able to step in. They're all over level 100. So that was them, and Tomoe was training them to pick up the reins of the guild.
Got it. Okay. I must have missed the pick up the reins of the guild bit in that episode. So that makes a lot more sense for me now. That makes sense.
I really enjoyed that like training arc for them. It was funny, as everything is funny in the show, but like their fight against the monkey people, the Shadow Tails, I'm looking at my notes, was pretty cool to see like them actually come up with a strategy that works, not just run head in. And little Aki Culture Club fun fact here. So I was watching that and I was listening to the music in the background. I was like, this sounds eerily familiar. And I was like, and I know I'm a Naruto simp and I compare everything to Naruto, but I was like, I swear I've heard this song before, the soundtrack in Naruto. And I looked it up and it's the same composer.
What?
Yeah, the composer. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Yasuharu Takanashi.
Yasuharu Takanashi, okay.
Is the main composer for Moonlit Fantasy, composed a whole bunch of stuff, Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. I think like Byakugan was on there.
What?
Like, his list is like 30 animes long. He's really good, but like the Naruto, like I was going down memory lane because I was like listening to Naruto soundtracks and like this sounds, and like I listened to like an hour-long Naruto music video of just like all the soundtracks. I'm like, man, like this is nostalgia. They're so good. But like there's elements in it, like certain instruments and the way he uses voices as music that I picked up on in Moonlit that are also in Naruto. And it's like his signature, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So like I have it queued up if we want to try to play it. But
yeah.
The main theme for Moonlit Fantasy is essentially 2 Naruto soundtracks combined.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I can play them if you want.
I would love to hear them. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull them up. Hopefully this works over our recording here. But here's the main theme. Let me know if it's too loud. Can you hear that?
I can't.
Oh man. Okay. Well, look up the main theme of Moonlit Fantasy.
We'll drop it in the comments below.
Okay.
And then you guys can just click right on it and then check it out.
And I'll send you the link to the 2 soundtracks that it's like the combination of from Naruto. Okay. It's almost like spot on. It's great. I freaking love the Naruto music.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it's so amazing that you were able to just like pick that up as you were watching this show. It kind of like goes to like this thing I also realized yesterday that's the players in the anime community, like they voice or do music for like the most amazing shows, but then they also work on things that are way, 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 way smaller scale. Like I was looking at like the quintessential quintuplets voice actors yesterday, and I was realizing that some of the voice actors were voicing like shows like they were in the Quints and then they were also in Demon Slayer, and it was like, oh my god, like these are two totally different shows, and it was just kind of insane to see like the level in which these voice actors and composers and creators will embed themselves into. Like it's really cool that he's using this music from Naruto and infusing it into Moonlit Fantasy.
Yeah, it's like his style, and it's epic. His style is epic. It's like grand orchestra, the kind of music, there's like the strings, you got all sorts going on. And you just made me think of another interesting tidbit. Apparently Comic-Con was last weekend here in Colorado Springs where I am, and I missed it, but some of the My Hero voice actors were there. They did a panel, and I can't remember who it is in My Hero, but she also does the voice of Mikasa in Attack on Titan, and I missed my chance.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They were right there.
I didn't know
they were in your backyard, Nick.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome though.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, like she does Attack on Titan and My Hero, two of the biggest animes that are on right now.
Yeah. And I bet you if you look at her like rap sheet, she probably does like animes that are much smaller too, at a smaller budget. It's just really, really cool how like the range and wide, how big of a breadth they get of roles.
Yeah, dude, that's the dream. I would love to be a voice actor.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah, I can't. I could
feel
do
like you
one
could train.
voice. Yeah,
you could train your voice.
Yeah, I could do one voice, which it's like I don't know if I can do it right now because I'm sick. It's like you ever watch Squidbillies on Adult Swim? Squidbillies?
No, what is that?
It might have been, or it might have been Aqua Teen Hunger
Force.
Go. Yeah. Okay. When the meatball guy, he's like a little meatball. He's That's like
that sounds just like him. Is that all you have?
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I could do dumb, like when I sound dumb voices, but you know, that's my go-to. It's like Stitch and Meatball Guy, and you know, the freaking, what is it, a gremlin from the Gremlin movies.
Yeah, that's 3 voices right there.
Yeah, that's, you know, I'm done software development. That's it.
Ow, just done. Get right into VA work. You'll just hop right in there and they'll get you for every squeaky pitched voice that they need. You'd be the go-to guy.
Play a bouncy ball in the next Toy Story
movie. You'd comprise that role very well, Nick. I will say that.
I would. Yeah. Damn,
do you feel like you have a much better appreciation for Moonlit Fantasy now that you know that the composer of Naruto is involved?
I do, and I'm gonna be like listening for the music, because normally I'll play it like kind of quietly on the side as I'm watching it doing, you know, work or whatever. But today I had my headphones in and I was like, oh wow, this is great. So I'm definitely gonna be listening to the music.
Oh, absolutely. Another show that had amazing like music is Fena Pirate Princess.
It did all around good. Not even just like the music was great, but all around good show. So glad we picked it up.
Me too. Such a great, you know, I knew when I saw that Adult Swim was a part of this show and Crunchyroll was involved as well. I just had an inkling that it was going to be just good, you know, like they were going to throw dollars at this to make it a good show, because I guess Adult Swim is just recognizing they've always been involved with Toonami. So they've always had that appreciation and that showcasing of anime for decades now at this point. So like it does make sense that they want to get involved and actually have their own original content. It's really cool that like Fena is their first stepping stone into this realm.
Yeah, and it's like I think we talked about it with this show before. Like it's a perfect segue anime if you're not an anime person but you like cartoons.
Yeah,
you know, it's got kind of it's got some of the anime things that you normally see, like the funny faces that they make when like a reaction face, but it's also kind of looks like Disney. And it's got like humor going on and a good storyline. Like I'm all in. I love it.
But then there's also the anime component where like people are actually getting like slashed up and there's guns and people are getting shot and like there's actually things that are at stake, and I'm assuming people can die, because we saw what appears to be her dad dying in the very first episode. So like, yeah, like you said, really great stepping stone anime for someone who is familiar with American animation but wants something, you know, in Japanese.
Yeah, and they definitely don't hold back on the blood.
They don't.
A lot of blood.
There's a lot of slicing and dicing that happens.
Yeah, Yukimaro is badass.
Oh, he is. He's real cool. You watched up to episode 3, right?
Yeah, I didn't have time to get to 4.
That's okay, because we only covered episode 1 in the last podcast. We'll do 2 and 3 this one, and then we'll do 4 and 5 in next week. But so I just watched, it's been a week and a half since I watched 3. Where did you end up at?
The end of 3, Yukimaru just saved Fena and the twins from that like gang of pirates that's trying to get Fena back.
Yeah.
And they just got back on the ship, and it was kind of ending with that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we saw like the block of whatever it is, could be quartz, could be glass. I don't know what it is. And we saw it in that person's shop as well.
Yes.
So I'm up to episode 4. In the next episode, they actually go to a place where they can find out what it is.
They go to Germany.
Yeah,
dude, I thought this was like a fantasy world. It's like they're like Yeah, the American farms owned by the English. I'm like, wait, what?
Where are we at right now? This was fancy. No, dude, this is a real, and they actually reference a real person. And there'll be like actual like historical figures reference and have prominence in the show.
Really?
Yes.
So we like Revolutionary War era right now?
I don't know. I don't. So there's ships. There's no technology. Like there's no electricity. So it's got to be before the 20th century.
It's like steam powered stuff. And
Steam powered. So I say like 1800s.
Yeah. So the dude that
Early
like ordered the pirates to get Fena,
yeah.
He's also got white hair. I'm assuming there's some sort of relation there. I don't know yet. Maybe we find out in episode 4 and you could tell me. But he had on like the quintessential like British Navy soldier uniform.
So which was like gave me like Pirates of the Caribbean vibe type of. And when did that like theoretically take place? In the 1700s?
I think it's Revolutionary War. You know, before guns, when they just had muskets, that era.
So it would be in the 1700s.
Yeah, something like that.
I wonder if it'll tell me like on Wikipedia on where it takes place, like what year. I'm not getting anything.
Okay, don't spoil it for yourself either.
Well, the good thing is there is nothing like this is an anime original, so there is no like spoilers past what I've seen already.
Oh yeah, good point.
So I won't thankfully spoil myself. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's like a set year. If anyone knows in the comments, let us know. We have no idea.
Yeah, dude, no reading, no research, just strong opinions.
Yeah, 1700s, 1800s. I don't know. Let us know. Tell us what you think. I have no idea.
Yeah, the United States was 1866. Is that when we became the country? So the Revolutionary Wars around there.
Bruh.
What? The
Revolutionary War happened in the 1700s, Nick.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
What's 1866? That's a date. Where's my phone? Hold on. Entertain our viewers while
oh my god. So let's just set the surface of where Nick is from. Nick doesn't I don't even know what to say at this point. Nick, I think you're thinking 1776.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Not
London Valley College was founded in 1866.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and berate you any longer because honestly, that's a really, I would say, easy mess up because that was like everywhere on our campus.
It was.
Like 1866 was repped every time. So like I can see in your subconscious, you're thinking 1866. That makes sense.
Yeah. Again, no reading, no research, just strong opinions.
Yeah, you think we like came into this and been like, okay, so let's figure out when this is taking place. Like, okay, we're gonna base it off like this historical person, but like maybe like what they're wearing and the guns that are being used, and we can kind of pinpoint the exact. Dude, we went into 86. I'm bringing 86 back to this. We watched the whole first season. Did not write down any of the dates that were appearing on screen. We were just freeballing this entire show. We were like, well, I don't know how much time has passed. How much time do you think has passed? And like, only 2 weeks. Oh my god, I went through so much trauma and only 2, and then they all died. But spoiler alert. And yeah, maybe in the second core, which comes out in the fall, we'll have a better track record with like actually like keeping track of dates.
Yeah, we're getting our shit together one step at a time.
We are. We really, you know what? And that's the best thing about this is every week we're just getting a little bit better, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. We should get back to anime. This is an anime podcast.
This is true.
Off the rails.
This is true. Well, another show that I think we've harped on in the past as being like kind of poop, kind of dog water. Actually, I think had a really great episode this week.
That's Peach Boy?
Yes.
That's
Peach Boy Riverside. Not thinking of the past 8 episodes, I think episode 9 was like pretty good.
Yeah, in itself, it was a whole story contained within one episode.
Yes.
And it was great. It was a great story.
And I almost feel like maybe if they kept this energy up the entire time, story would actually be like kind of good throughout the entirety of the show.
Yeah, because you know what's funny is I watched it a little later than I normally would, and I started episode 10 by mistake.
Oh, I knew
And
you.
if I didn't realize it, like I have a habit of doing this, so like I'm checking episode numbers and dates and stuff. If I didn't realize it, I would have never known because everything's just out of order anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can only imagine what episode 10 is going to be like. I'm imagining it's probably just like we're back to current times. And but who knows where I don't the thing is we can't base it off what happened in episode 8, because like episode 8 what isn't really episode 8. So like who knows what's going to happen in episode 10.
Yeah.
You know, we know episode 9 was a flashback. So
yeah, it just goes to show that this show would be good because we had one episode that was encapsulated in itself as a whole story, and it was great. We both really liked it. So now imagine if they told the whole story in order, we probably would really like it.
Yeah, you know? I totally agree.
Yeah. So this episode was pretty much the history of Peach Boy, right?
Yes.
It left a lot of questions still, but I still think it was great. I wish they would have explained, like, spoiler to the end of the episode, when the original Peach Boy dies, he has that light just come out of him, and then our Peach Boy, Mikoto, number 2, just like absorbs it. And I was like, what was that? How'd that happen?
Yeah, like great question. What is that? Why does that happen? How did he get that to begin with? How did old Mikoto get it? Can he just give it to young Mikoto on his will? Or was it like as he's dying, it goes to the next nearest person?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions to be answered.
Yeah. I was thinking that maybe it gets passed on by whoever kills the current Peach Boy, and that's why he was like, he kept pushing Mikoto to kill him, but he wasn't the one who landed the final blow. It was the ogre, and he just died in his arms.
Yeah. No, that's a really great thought. Like it could have been the last person to die, because he was kind of like begging him for a while to kill him, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of sus. It was like, okay, like why do you have so much compassion for this kid when like your whole thing is to kill ogres, and like his dad like killed his mom, so like of course you're gonna like, you know, ball out and smack the dad around and kill the dad. But like why would you be so sorry about that to this kid? Like his dad was gonna eat him anyway, you know?
Yeah, but Mikoto's an ogre. The dude who hates ogres is half an ogre, and I don't even think he knows it.
Well, he ripped his horn off at the end.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Does he know that it horns, like, if does he is just like a little kid that's like, oh, I have a horn on my head, I'm just gonna rip it off? Or is it like, oh, I know that ogres have horns and I'm denouncing that part of my identity and I'm just gonna rip the horn off to say that I'm done with that?
I think it's probably the latter, because yeah, he wasn't that clueless, and like all the other ogres have had horns, and why would you just do that as a kid who didn't know?
Exactly. And go through what seems to be like a lot of pain to tear a piece of your body off.
Yeah.
Just at will. It also was kind of interesting how strong he was comparative to his size and his age. Like old Makoto was pretty strong in terms of slashing up a lot of ogres, but he comes to this Lord of Laws, no burrito, no burrito, no rug, no baruga. And like the dude gets he's a straight nubbin. Like he's out here nubbins now, you know? Like he got no legs, he ain't got no arms. Like, oh my God, bro. Like he put the sword in his mouth and he just like went up and he's like giving me Zorro vibes over here again, putting the sword in his mouth and fighting. But then young Makoto just slashes up the Lord of Laws like it's nobody's business. I'm just sitting here thinking, is it because he's a half ogre that makes him so much stronger? Like he's half ogre, half Peach Boy powers, and they like kind of combine together to create.
He's got like the best of both worlds, and maybe that's why Sally is so strong, because she's got like half Peach Boy, Peach Girl, I guess, and human. Maybe she's not even full on human. You know, we don't know.
We don't know
because the show doesn't. You know, I'll hold my tongue.
We have no idea.
Yeah,
it seems that now you got me thinking, like Sally could be half human, half Peach Boy or Peach Girl. because only one of her eyes goes. But like, I'm not sure. There's something we don't know about her, and I guess there is like 4 episodes left, so we'll figure it out eventually, probably. But who knows? Or maybe we won't. I don't know. The shows could be out of order. We could go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
At this point,
prequel. We got a prequel episode. And
we're gonna get
what?
A prequel episode to the show. We have no idea what's going on. But
yeah, that whole like half thing, like Dragon Ball Z, Gohan is half Saiyan, half human, so he's like super powerful because he gets the best of both.
Yeah.
So I could see it. It's a thing that's done before, and given this show's what it's done so far, I could see it just pulling that from a trope such as Dragon Ball Z.
So, yeah, with that being said, if it was in Dragon Ball Z, I've actually never seen Dragon Ball Z before, so I'm glad that you have, so you can pull from it. But if it's been done before, which clearly it has, and then it's definitely something to do with that. They got like double the power.
Could be. I'd like to know. I'd like the show to get.
I would like to know. It would be nice. It would be nice to know. I feel yeah. It would be nice to know anything that's going on in this show, and it be like actually in order.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe hopefully it gets a second season, and maybe they're like, all right, we tried something to be artistic and it didn't work, so we're just gonna do it normally, and we get a good show out of it.
Yeah, I wonder if like it would be crazy if Crunchyroll at the very end of it rearranges the show back in order.
I would love that. That'd be
and
great.
Like they actually put it in order for us. That would be actually really cool. But I don't know. Like you sent me a thing on Reddit actually that really showed the like ordering of the episodes, and like obviously I want to do more editing in our videos and show people stuff more. So like I'm gonna put it up on the screen like right now. So episode 4 should be episode 4 should be episode 1. Episode 1 should be episode 2. 2 should be 3. 7 should be 4. Episode 11 should be episode 5. Episode 12, which will be the last episode, is episode 6. Episode 5 should be episode 7. Episode 6 should be episode 8. 3, 8, 10, and 9. So like, wait, hold on a second. We are gonna get it. We are gonna get prequel.
Good.
Because 11 and 12 are the last ones. Oh my god, we are gonna only get prequels. So like, we saw episode 9. Oh wait, did we watch episode 9 today? Right. So episode 9 should be the last episode. Oh my god. So we kind of saw the end.
Oh, good.
The end was supposed to be how he got the powers to begin with. And next week is episode 10, which will be the episode before 9. So the will be episode 11. So next week's episode is going to be like the culmination almost, because the episode that we saw this week, which is 9, or episode 9 should be 12. I don't know, bro. It's on the screen right now. You guys can see it, but I don't know what's going on.
You shouldn't need a calculator and a protractor to try to figure out the order of the episodes. Is what we're getting at here.
Exactly.
Man's up writing on his windows with marker like Rain Man, trying to understand this story.
Trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. So all I know is I may not know the order, even though it's right in front of me reading off of it. I do know that we are going to be watching prequels. Next week is pretty much going to be what the end is. And then 11 and 12 are just going to be like mid-season episodes.
Okay.
Wow, that's really, really confusing and annoying.
Yeah. Listen, the creators of Boy Riverside, listen to me. You have good storytelling. You had this one episode where it was one story in one episode, and it was fulfilling. It was great, and that's hard to do. Just keep that and put your episodes in order next season, and you'll have, instead of a 3 on my anime list, you'll get like a 7.2. You know?
Man, they're getting a 3.
I don't know.
Oh no, a 3.
Yeah. Can we talk about one of our 10s though?
Yeah, let's do it.
I feel like we got 3 like 10 out of 10 episodes this week. I don't know which one we got. We got My Hero.
Yes.
We got Tokyo Revengers, save that
Yes,
for
sir.
last because that was just mwah.
That's good.
And to your eternity.
Yeah.
Let's go with My Hero.
Okay. I like that. Let's go My Hero. You want to start us off?
Yeah. So I just had this one note. It's not really about the episode itself, it's about the show. So the Blood Girl was her name.
Toga.
Toga?
Toga.
Yeah, I'm so bad. Anyway, Blood Girl, like she's cursed to be a villain. Like there's people in this show where the quirks that they get, they're almost cursed to be villains. Like Toga,
Yeah.
she needs someone else's blood to turn into them. Like that's evil to begin with.
Yep.
Decay. Like he just touches people and they turn to dust, which we saw a lot of in this episode. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty rad.
Like they're almost cursed to be just
Yeah.
because of the quirks that they had. Like as a kid, what's Decay's person's name? He's the
Who?
main villain. The main villain. What's his name?
Shigaraki.
Shigaraki. As a kid, like he doesn't understand his quirk.
Yeah.
So like he could be running and playing tag, and all of a sudden his quirk, activates for the first time, and he tags some kid, and the kid just turns to dust.
Yeah.
Like he's destined for failure. He's destined to be a villain.
Yep.
And I feel like this episode really kind of showed that with Toga, because we got a little bit of her backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like an outcast, even by her own parents. I mean, called like a monster.
Yeah.
Just because of her quirk.
Yep.
So she was forced into villainry.
Yep.
Villainhood.
It's almost like it's kind of like how society has constructed itself amongst themselves, and while maybe like 90% of what society has deemed like the people in society, they are deemed acceptable and they kind of fit into the mold of the construction, and like 10% of those people aren't. Like the people who do, the majority, don't have the compassion, I don't think, to accept those that are outside of what would be considered normal. And I think that's what Togo was trying to say, is like, what is normal? Yeah. Right. And normal can be anything that society has deemed itself. Like, what if society thought like, okay, Toga has this power, why doesn't she have like, can go to like a blood bank or something to have blood that can suffice for her craving, right? Because it seemed like she had a craving for blood based off her nibbling on the bird and sucking it through the straw of her classmate. Like, it would be deemed acceptable if society said to itself, okay, like we can serve and help this person, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of do it in society of ourselves, right? We have this sphere of acceptability, and then everyone that's outside of that sphere is kind of ostracized, right?
Yeah.
And we don't oftentimes do anything to help those people. We kind of just like keep our eyes up and forward and keep walking.
Yeah, drug addicts.
Yeah, I was saying without saying. Yeah, exactly. Like, we know that addiction stems from trauma and abuse, and those people don't get the help that they need. And like we start to view addiction as like, okay, they're just like people like taking a dump outside, like on the street, but we're not realizing like, okay, that person was traumatized when they were young, and they saw like drugs and addiction as kind of like the coping mechanism for that trauma. Same thing with Toga. Like she was abused and she went through very traumatic events when she was young, and society didn't accept her. They had no compassion for her and the quirk that she was born with and the things that she had to deal with that were outside of her control because she was a child at this time.
Yeah.
And I kind of think like, yeah, it draws a lot of parallels to what we see in our society currently.
Yeah, like a good point with the blood banks. Like, she could get help where she's like fueling her addiction until she is able to control it. Like how some European countries, instead of criminalizing addiction or criminalizing Toga's, thirst for blood, which she doesn't really understand, they give them drugs in a controlled setting.
Yeah.
Give her blood in a controlled setting.
Exactly. Would you rather her go and kill people for blood, right?
Yeah.
And causing crime, causing like unsafe areas, and doing all those, like spending a lot of money to negate the things that she has to do in her League of Villains? Or would you rather do it in a controlled setting and help her out until she is able to be in control of her addiction or her lust for blood?
Did we just solve the world's drug problem with My Hero
Academia? Yeah, I mean,
this podcast.
Yeah, I think so. I think we might have. Every drug overdose is a policy failure.
But
But
you're right. It draws such good, like it's such a parallel to the world,
yeah,
and this was a great episode. 10 out of 10.
it was. And it was really interesting because we saw, and I want to still stick, this episode was based a lot on Toga, but also a lot of other people as well. But still with Toga, though, the woman that was the hero, who was also the journalist, I felt like was narrating Toga's life. And like some people might walk away from this show, that episode, and say, wow, I learned a lot about Toga. But it's like, we only learned about Toga through the lens of the journalist. We didn't learn about Toga through her own self. She wasn't actually giving an interview. She was just kind of being beaten down. Like, yes, she's a villain, she's killed people, but she's being beaten down. And the journalist is the one that's writing the narrative on who Toga actually is.
Yes.
Which I thought was also really interesting, because I'm assuming at the end of this episode, or end of this arc, there's going to be some like reference to a news article about who Toga is and who these people are and whatnot. I'm not here to say that the League of Villains is good by any, or has good morals, or their morality is high of any sense. I'm just calling the parallels between Toga.
Yeah, we are getting into that gray area, like we did with Attack on Titan, who's the real villains, and I feel like shit's starting to get a lot more gray in this show. And the Liberation Army, like they're the third player now, and this episode really showed their strength. Like they have a whole city of people, and they're the villains to the villains, like they're enemies, but they're also the villains to the heroes.
Yeah.
So like everyone's it's gray now.
It's now like a triangle of like who's against who, but it's not necessarily like, it's like I'm against you, and then I'm against you and you, and like, but everyone has their own prerogative. So we have like good and then bad, and then based off the morality of the show, good and bad. And where does the Meta Liberation Army stand? Like they hate heroes, but they also hate villains. And the Meta Liberation Army, it has like strikingly close parallels to, I would say, people-focused movements around the world. Not to say anyone in particular, but they oftentimes have a lot of people that can be evolved. But it seems, based off Reed Destroyo's type of intel that he had on the Nomus, like he thought that the League of Villains didn't have any more Nomus.
Yeah.
Which is completely, I think, based off what we saw in the episodes in the past, completely untrue. Because that doctor had all those Nomus in those cylinder containers like ready to go.
Yes.
Or soon to be ready to go. So like his intel was pretty much off in that capacity. And we saw that Shigaraki was killing a lot of these people. So like, yeah, they were super strong, but like he killed like 30 people at a time.
Dude, with like a swipe.
With a swipe, which is like, Shigaraki's super, super powerful. Like, you got to think like so we have Shigaraki who can kill 30 people in one swipe. And then we have heroes like in the academy right now who are like 1A, 1B characters. And what can they do? They can throw purple balls at people. Like, how is that power? Like, I know I'm crapping on Minato, like, because it's just the easiest thing, but like, how is that ability able to shape up to what Shigaraki can do?
It can't. And like it's a scary power. Like someone as strong as Bakugo, he can get touched and he's dead.
Yeah.
So, and he's only like, this is a prequel to where Shigaraki is now. Like we're in a flashback right now, and Shigaraki's getting like a power up. So he's gonna get even stronger in the episodes to come.
Wait, this is a flashback?
Yeah, we're like a month. It's like a month in the past.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, and you also said another part, they're going to get a power up. We also saw Toga get a little bit of a power up, right? With now being able to use the quirks of the people that she drinks the blood of. Now, Dabi looks like he's fighting some ice dude.
Yeah.
Which I have a theory on who that ice person is. I think the ice person's Natsuo, which is the brother. The middle brother, which is Todoroki's older brother.
Yeah.
because he has an ice power and it's super strong.
Yeah.
Like his dad tried to like train like them to become strong, right? He comes from a strong family, and ice is one of the powers that he does have.
Yeah.
And like Dobby has blue flames. Like I'm pretty sure Dobby is the brother.
Yeah.
It's the same eye color. There's someone's dead or was dead at one point, and he looks dead and or was dead. And I really do think Natsuo or Natsu hates his dad, obviously, for what he's done. So he hates, like, obviously he hates heroes, but I also think he hates villains because he has that component of more like this weird component of morality to him where he like still sees things in a binary world. So he's like good, bad, but I'm the other. So he joins the Meta Liberation Army.
Yeah.
And he's there to fight for them.
Theory. That's a great theory, Damien.
Because he doesn't want to be on the power of the side of the heroes because he hates his dad, but he also doesn't want the villains to win. So he wants to join the group that's going to kind of like flatten everything. Because that's what the Meta Liberation Army ultimately wants. They want everyone to be able to use their quirks. They want to flatten the playing field. And because as far as I know, only heroes can use their quirks.
Yes.
And if you're not a hero or in the hero courses, you can't use your quirk.
Yeah.
So you're born with something you can't use.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I just made another connection. We have the Marlians, who are the villains. We have the Paradis, who are the heroes. And we have the Jaegerists, who are the Meta Liberation Army.
Yeah.
Who just want to wipe out everything.
Yeah. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good comparison. I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder how many stories like this exist where it's like the battle of good versus evil, but then like there's like the third party that kind of is introduced that makes you question. Like we obviously know that evil is evil, or maybe evil isn't evil, you know, and evil is just kind of like trying to bring itself, trying to show the corruption within the what we think is the good, you know. But maybe good is evil, maybe good is actually good, and they need to use corruption to kind of stay in power. I don't know.
It's that gray area, man.
And then we have the Meta Liberation Army people where it's like you kind of come in and you flatten everything and you're like, well, that seems kind of bad. And it's like, no, we're doing it for noble causes. And you're just like, oh my God. I wonder if this is a trope. If this is a story trope, please put it in the comments.
Please.
Because Nick and I have no idea.
We don't. All I know is the villain is the hero of their own story. Fade to black. Podcast's over.
It's over. We're done. We're done. Now we're back. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're not leaving.
Yeah. So that was my hero. You know what I'm saying?
It was great.
Great story. Great story.
Yeah.
Really happy. I'm glad it's not over. You know.
Yeah. Unlike another show.
Which
did end, but in a very good way, I think.
I agree.
To Your Eternity.
To Your Eternity. Really, really glad they ended this for the season the way that they did. And they didn't end it with what would episode 19 be. Yeah. Or what 19 was. With him stepping off the boat and then walking into like the new town. Really glad they gave us this last episode.
Yeah. It's like in the story like triangle where it goes up and you have, building, and then you have the climax, and then you have like the downward of the triangle. Like it did really well in ending last episode with like a big shebang. Although there was a cliffhanger with Hayase, she's now knockerized. But then it wrapped it up really nicely, and like there was no action really in this episode. It was just storytelling and wrapping up the season. It was great.
Yeah, it was really great. And I want to like piggyback off what you just said. Like there was no action, and still really good.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that this story has so many layers to it and how good it can be. Like you don't need fighting for it to be good. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the best parts about this show and how sad it isn't about the fighting. It's what comes after or before that makes it really, really special.
I would agree. It deals with life and death like so nicely.
It does.
I love I love the way that they portray the afterlife. Like it's paradise. Like, and it's been portrayed multiple times now where like the people are reuniting with their family, or they're on like a paradise island, and we don't really, at least maybe we haven't seen, because all the people that we've seen before were like good people, but as far as we know, it's just paradise. Once you die, you transfer into paradise, and the narrator even said that, like, I'll stop you on your way to paradise and do, reincarnate you essentially.
Yeah. Which now there's a lot of to go off of that. Like, now what if we see Hyacea die? Where does she go? Does she go to paradise, or does she go to a version of hell? Because honestly, their paradise makes it seem like death isn't that bad.
Right.
It almost feels like in their version of life and death, death is like becoming a butterfly.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you have to go through the cocoon and you have to, which would be death. But when you come out of it, is the butterfly. Life, it's like life was good, but paradise is paradise,
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Damien.
Thank you, Nick. I try. But also, would Hyacea go to heaven? Would she go to paradise? Well, I'm guessing would be heaven, or would she go to like some sort of purgatory area? Because a lot of things were said in this show, a lot of small things. So Fushi asks the narrator, are you a demon? And the narrator asks, because he said, Tanari said that you could be a demon. And his response is, that's a discussion that's far removed from right now. I am so interested as to what he meant by that. Like, is he somebody that is like, I'm getting the vibe that he's not in the like whole like demon and angel realm. I think he's like some sort of like purgatory being.
Yeah.
Because he intercepted Purian in purgatory before she entered paradise.
Yeah, he's like the messenger, or the shepherd, essentially.
Yeah,
He shepherds people into wherever, to the next world.
And he responded to her, like she called out to him and said, like, if you're here now, I want to speak to you. And he showed up, and I was like, oh, like he actually showed up. Like it gave me like Grim Reaper vibes almost.
Yeah.
Like he kind of showed up in the dark cloak, it kind of made that connection in that moment. I'm like, oh my God, this feels like he's a Grim Reaper ready to take her to wherever she needs to go next.
Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. Like he lives. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Like he's the shepherd of purgatory, but why can he create Fushi? Like, what is he?
So I'm really interested in that right there, because we haven't questioned what Fushi is, how Fushi was created, like any of that until this very like last bit. So he intercepted her at purgatory. She was young, right? Young and beautiful. She was going to enter into paradise and she was going to be happy, whatever. And he said to her, and I have the quote written down. He said to her, if your body changes, that makes who you are will also change. And she accepted it. And when she went into purgatory and he touched her, she turned into a ball, right? That looks like the same ball from what Fushi came from before he was sent down as to be a rock.
Yes. So is she going to be a new thing, a new Fushi thing?
That's what I think. I have a really strong inclination that he takes people from before they go to paradise and turns them into a being that he shepherds around.
Wow.
And that now Purian is the same thing as what Fushi is. And she is now currently some ball of energy turned into a stone somewhere in this world. And I think based off, because we did see a time skip at the very end.
Yes, we did.
So, and this is decades later, and the body that Fushi is in, the unnamed boy, is older now. Yeah. Like he's 50 years old, 54 years old. And I think that Purian is going to show up, but in a different form, the same as Fushi. Fushi's going to meet a thing that's the same as he is. It's going to be what Purian was.
I think you might be right. And just on the whole time skip thing, we've learned before that once he changes forms, and comes back. So if he was boy and changed to dog and comes back, boy is at the initial state of boy. So he hasn't changed out of the unnamed boy for decades. That's how the boy has aged, because he's aged before and then came back to normal when he changed forms.
So every time he changed forms, it resets.
Yeah, he changed back to the initial form.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
So he's been living as Fushi this whole time.
For decades, for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it's crazy that 40 years has gone by without the narrator. And the narrator also said, like, assumed or made the assumption or like hinted at that he hadn't seen Fushi for 40 years, right?
Yeah.
That means he has other beings of energy that he's kind of like intercepted and has on the earth to collect information. And I think Fushi is just the story of who we're following currently.
I never thought about it like that, but like, you very well could be right. I mean, it's kind of giving off the vibes of like, narrator knows what he's doing. Like, this isn't his first rodeo.
Yeah. He's done this a lot. And I think he has a lot of balls of energy that he is currently shepherding.
Is he the villain this whole time?
I don't know. So I would say that if he was the villain, I would say, like, if Fushi was able to take forms from people currently, like, he'd be able to take from him from whomever he wants immediately. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they need to make an impact on him before he can change shows to me that is not like the knockers who suck the form directly from you and steal from you.
Right.
So, like, I think the knockers are clearly evil, but we don't know much about them, though.
No,
like, we don't know
where they came from or anything.
We don't know where they came from. We don't know if they have a leader. We know they have sentience because it listened to Hayase. So, like, we know that they have the ability to comprehend and think critically. Mm. But we really don't know much about them otherwise. And I don't know if you saw this or not. You may not have. You may have. I'm not sure, but I haven't spoken to you about it. But To Your Eternity was approved for a second season.
All 2022.
All 2022, yeah. So a year from now, we'll be watching the second season of To Your Eternity, and I'm actually like pretty excited to see how it continues on.
Oh, I can't wait. I think they ended it, as I said before, they ended it very well, and it's also kind of a cliffhanger. The very last scene when he's old and he steps on that knocker, and the look in his face is almost kind of like sinister.
Yeah. Like,
what happened here? So like, I'm on the edge. I want to know.
Me too. I'm really curious. I was perusing the Reddit and I was reading some things, nothing spoilery, nothing of spoilers, but people were excited to see the two arcs being animated that's next in the manga. But someone said that, like, multiple people were saying that To Your Eternity might not see a third season because it gets weirder. I don't know what that means, but I'm really excited for weird.
Yeah,
I like so weird. Like, I like weird too, so I'm excited to see what weird is. What do they mean by weird? Like, yeah, I could obviously like turn around and start reading the manga because I have it on my shelf, but like, I really like this format that we have where, like, we watch the show and have raw takes than like me knowing what the end is and being able to say exactly what's going to happen. But now that we've watched up to this point, I'll read the manga up to this point. I've been waiting. But yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot that we missed that you'll catch up on.
Oh yeah, but I won't go further than after Peoria. I'm not gonna go. I won't read ahead. What? Did you lose me?
I just froze again. So, no. But I heard pretty much everything you said.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, it's as easily cuttable, so don't worry about it. But yeah, To Your Eternity. It's good to see that it ended. I'm really glad that we watched it.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just a very enjoyable show.
Yeah, super unique, just lovable characters that come and go very quickly, and yeah, great, just great.
Yeah, well, now that it's ended, I think we have to give our scorings for it. So how do we want to go about this, Nick?
I'm just gonna come out. Can I give like decimals?
I know on my anime list that you can't do decibels. I fully disagree with the fact that you have to give it a solid score, a solid number. So like Culture Club Commandment, you can absolutely give decibels to your scoring.
Commandment number 5, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want my rating?
Yes.
8.5.
8.5.
It's not a 10 because there were times where like got a little slow. We got really frustrated with Fushi.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like it just felt like the story wasn't progressing at some points. It was just kind of there.
Yep.
But it's also like I've seen way worse shows than this show. Like it's great. I enjoyed all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give it a 9 out of 10 because that to me is like Tokyo Revengers is going to be 9.5 out of 10. Attack on Titan's 10. It's not quite the Tokyo Revengers, where I'm leaving every episode and I'm like, what happens,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's still fantastic. So 8.5.
I like 8.5. I'm going to give it a solid 8. I think a lot of the points that you had mentioned, I also resonate with. There are points with Fushi was like really pissing me off in terms of a character. I felt like his development was somewhat stalled, even in the face of adversity, where I felt like he should have grown or should have at least learned from his mistake to apply it again to the future. I think like at this point of who he was, after that 4 years of living with Gugu, I feel like him as a character should have been humanized enough to understand like what's going on and how to make decisions. And I think when he got to the Jananda Island, I feel like Fushi almost like regressed in a way. Like he became so compassionate for others that he kind of like lost sight of what his actual goal was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like to help the narrator, collect information, and I felt like at times Fushi kind of like was failing at the goal that he had. Why I think it deserves this 8 is because it was really cathartic. It was sad. It made me really hopeful for Fushi though in the future. Like even though he was making a lot of mistakes, I still felt hope that he would one day like turn that around and do the things that he needed to do, even though they may be hard. And we did get to see a glimpse of that at the very end of Jananda Island by kind of like taking care of the 3 kids that were knockerized. There were parts in the Gugu arc that I felt like it really took me through the full spectrum of feelings between not liking Gugu and then really liking Gugu and then being completely depraved, like when he was murdered. And I felt like that in and of itself was really, really great storytelling. And for the creators to introduce a character that I didn't think was very likable and then make him extremely likable to the point where I was really sad to see him go, I think they did a really like bang up job. As far as Hayase is as a villain, there are some villains that I really, really think are some of the best. Like Miriam from Hunter x Hunter, I think is one of the best villains of all time. And I kind of feel like Hayase kind of gives that vibe that she's just not this evil doer, but she is evil and like not to a part where you can understand it, not to a point where you can understand it. She was a wild character. And I really liked it. I thought it was cool how like crazy she was, and how lusting for power she was. And it wasn't even power. She loved Fushi because she wanted him to kill her so she could live on forever through him. And I thought that was insane and I loved it. So 8.
Solid 8. You heard it here, folks.
Average score 8.25 between the two of us.
That's a good score.
I think that's a good score. It's going on the website.
Nice.
Speaking of the website, akiculture.club is now live. You should check it out. Let us know.
Putting in a lot of work on that website. So
we're doing it.
Let us know.
Let us know. It's a Shopify. It's not Shopify. It is a Squarespace.
Don't say Shopify. Although Squarespace, if you want to sponsor us.
I love it, dude. You know what? Let us know if you want to sponsor us because as a designer, it was really easy to put that together. I liked it. I was like, damn.
Our people will get in touch with your people. Swear.
Yeah. Facts. Okay.
Save the best for last.
The best for last, which wasn't even the ending.
I know.
It wasn't even the ending, Nick.
It makes me so happy that it wasn't.
Oh my God. Tokyo Avengers, episode 21, one and only.
Fucking banger.
Oh my God. So from what happened last week, we saw that Baji was stabbed by Kazutoro. Because Kazutoro is a jerk.
He is.
And he is delusional, I think.
Yes.
I had no idea what was going on in his mind at the very beginning. Like, he's still sitting there and he's just like mumbling words, like when he killed Mikey's older brother. It's just like, bro, what are you doing? And he's kind of just like mumbling words. And then Mikey's like, just the most emotionless person I've ever seen, as Baji just lays there completely unresponsive.
Dude, the look on Mikey's face when he was walking towards Kazutoro to kill him was just like goosebumps, man.
Goosebumps. But before he killed him, Nick, Hanma stepped to Mikey. And he's like, this ain't over. You're not calling anything. Don't walk any further. And Mikey gave him the best kick I've ever seen in this show.
Dude, the animation of it, the sound of it, and just the tension building up to it was so satisfying.
Oh my God. You just like looking up to this dude. He's just got these wide ears just looking at you like you're some kind of asshole. And he just kicked him so hard right into the ground.
It's great. And
it was like, yo, Mikey is off the charts right now. Like, Draken was fighting Hanma and was like keeping up with, like, they were keeping up with each other, but Mikey like really ended Hanma and really kicked it. Like, he really did it the way that I wanted him to, which was awesome.
It was just perfect. And that like scared the rest of the Valhalla gang away. They're like, dude, he took out Hanma with one kick and they just gone. They're out.
Yeah. And now it's like, oh, we don't have Hanma to protect us. And now it's Mikey and Draken. Like, we're gonna die. Like, and what? So like, obviously they're running, but it ain't over. Like, yeah, they're abandoning their crew, but like, Mikey needs to go over to Kazutoro now. And this is kind of like, we saw kind of what was happening that Mikey, that Takemichi was trying to stop.
Yes.
And we saw this in a flashback and a few episodes back of Mikey just holding Kazutoro down and just beating his face into a pole.
Just over and over and over. And dude, the tension that this show makes, because we know people can die.
Yeah.
And like the tension that arises when people are on the brink of death. Like when he was just pounding Kazutoro, I was like, man, like I don't want him to die because, you know, that's the past. That I don't like Kazutoro, but you know, we're trying to change the past here. And with every punch, I was just like, he's fucking dead. He's dead. Yeah. He's dead. Yeah.
And they were like flashing to every single person that was like, you know, a captain or a vice captain. And I'm like, you're right. The tension that they built, because we know that people can die. So it's like every punch, I was like, oh my God, this is so, the uncertainty was astounding. It was like palatable with how I felt with the uncertainty of what was going to happen between Mikey and Kazutoro.
Yeah. And it's just brutal. And it was awesome.
So, and then we see the flip side of that, right? So as Mikey's punching in Kazutoro, we have Baji, right? You know, he stands up while Mikey's beating in Kazutoro's face. And Baji stands up and he's able to get up and he stops Mikey, right? Yes. But he doesn't stop Mikey in the way that we think he's going to stop Mikey.
So my notes, like I just write down my reactions as I go. And I have 3, holy shit, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know. Like, I know what this Jesus Christ is for because of what Baji just did.
Yes.
I think the holy shit was the kick to the face.
Mm-hmm.
So Baji, he doesn't want Kazutora to die.
Yeah.
He doesn't want Mikey to kill Kazutoro because Kazutoro killed Baji.
Yep.
So Harikari stabs himself in the stomach
Yeah.
and kills himself. So it's not
Seppuku.
Kazutoro. Yeah.
He gives
Seppuku.
high cards. I think also the same word. It's the same word. Yeah. Which is
Jesus
like
Christ.
insane. I actually had to look it up because I was like, I thought only Japanese samurais did that. And it's not. Also during the Showa period, it was also done to restore honor for their family.
Wow.
So like I'm getting the like he kind of stopped Kazutoro. Yeah, right. He stopped he didn't want he stopped Mikey from killing Kazutoro because he stabbed himself. So it wasn't Kazutoro who killed him, it was himself. Which is like how did that just happen?
Like we barely know Baji. We've seen him like 3 times, and to get like this emotional for a character who I don't like. This is like my 3rd time seeing him on screen. It's just such good writing because he died and like it affected me, and it's like he was a dick for most of the time that we saw him, but like they just wrapped him up so well that like just I didn't actually cry, but like tear to my eye when he died. It was just so tense.
They took everything that we know about Baji, and you're right, they wrapped him up in while he was dying. Like they made you second guess who he is and care about him and grieve his death all within him laying on the ground.
Yeah, in like 8
we thought he was a traitor for this entire time, and that he hated Toman and he was against Valhalla and he beat the crap out of his vice captain Shifu. Like Baji was an asshole. We even said that too. Like, dude, Baji's a jerk. And while laying there, while he's dying, we're kind of coming to the realization like, oh, he's not a jerk. Like he was doing something without telling Mikey, because Kasaki is such a snake that Kasaki went to Mikey and said, I'll get Pa out of prison if you allow me to be the 3rd division captain.
Yeah, which is another big thing that just happened in like a flash.
Yeah.
Like we then it seemed so weird that Kasaki, became part of Toman. It was just like it just happened and we didn't know why. And we learned in this episode it was the Pa thing. And Baji's whole like his dying wish is like, fuck Kasaki. It's me, it's Mikey, it's Draken, it's Kazutora, and the other dude. We're the dudes. We're the captains.
Yeah.
And, right.
And now it almost feels like with Baji dying, it's like Kasaki. I feel like Kasaki may get his way or may not. But there is one major thing that I want to touch on after talking about everything that just happened. There's one major thing that I want to touch upon. And I had this realization while watching the show. I kept wanting Takamichi to interfere and stop something from happening really badly.
No,
until I
wrote it down. I'm like, fucking step in, Takamichi.
Do something, right?
Yeah.
So I have the realization or thought or theory that Takamichi doing the things that Takamichi is doing is actually to a small degree interfering with the timeline enough to change the course of the entire ship, right? So like think about it in terms of like instead of him jumping in the moment and stopping things and like completely derailing the entire event, but think about like a ship sailing in the water and you turn the rudder just a few degrees to the right. Instead of that ship going to England, the ship ends up going to Portugal, right? Yeah. That's kind of what we're seeing with Tokyo Revengers. It's not major changes that change the entire course of the show, right? It's a small change that takes the entire course into a different direction. So like, I'm assuming in the past when Kazutora stabbed Baji, the stabbing was different, right? But in this case, when Takamichi was holding on to Baji, the stab was less severe, which allowed Baji to do what he originally wanted to do, which was stand up, commit seppuku, and stop Mikey from killing Kazutora. Like that in and of itself, Takamichi holding on to Baji was enough to change the direction of the show enough that it kind of resolved things. It didn't resolve it in the way that we were anticipating in the beginning, like, oh my God, like, but it was enough to be like, okay, actually this was different.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey didn't kill Kazutoro. Baji was able to interfere to the degree that Baji wanted to. However, I still believe that the events still need to take place, you know? And I want to be honest with you. If this goes the same course as it always will, I don't think we're going to see much change throughout the entirety of the story until the very end.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like the ship arriving at the port that it didn't intend to, 1,000 miles off from where it was supposed to,
I think you're 100% spot on. It's like, it's the butterfly effect thing. Like he didn't kill Kasaki, like that would be a huge split, 180 the other way. But the small things that he does, the empowering the spirits of Toman when he's like running windmilling, trying to like, that probably didn't happen before.
Yeah.
But that had such an effect on the morale of Toman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Enough to fire them up to continue fighting. Like, what if that was everyone was beaten down, they didn't want to fight anymore, like Baji standing, like Draken's getting fighting Hanma still, like, it would have led to a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then at the very end, the purple tag drops out and he realizes that Baji was always part of Toman no matter what anyway.
And it was just full circle for Baji's character. We hated him, and then we loved him, and then he died.
And he's dead.
It was just perfect. So, but we don't know. Like Mikey could very well still just kill Kazutoro. Kazutoro's still being a dickhead.
True.
It's like we're still fighting. It could happen. We don't know. This is why my last note is, fuck, I didn't want this to end because it ends on such a cliffhanger. Like every episode does. It's just beautiful.
We still have 3 more episodes though, so I feel like in the same vein that Tokyo Revengers kind of like had its epic moment and then ended like a little bit more somberly. Mm-hmm. I think Tokyo Revengers is going to go in that same direction. Like we still have 3 more episodes, so that come down I think might be a little bit longer. But I do think that it'll be calmer in the next few episodes.
Yeah. So if I know anything about this show, it's gonna go like it went like this, and we're gonna come down, and then the last episode, it's gonna go like that, and it's gonna stop right in the middle, and we're gonna be like,
season 2.
When's the next season?
Season 2. Bring this manga to English.
Yeah, beautiful.
Bring it to print.
Beautiful, chef's kiss, perfect. Perfect writing, perfect action, just great.
I like it. I love it so much. I know so many people I see online talk crap about this show because the animation may not be as good. But honestly, I don't really care. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it.
If it's the writing is so good, it doesn't matter if the animation is 7 Deadly Sins season 2 level animation. Okay, maybe not that bad.
Sure about that? You sure about that?
Maybe not that bad.
Maybe not that bad.
That's it, man. We did them all.
And that's it. We did them all. Holy crap.
You got any fired up segments for us?
I do. Let's do it. Demon gets fired up. So this week, a show was released from Netflix jail, Nick. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that show is?
I don't.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
The characters be thick. The power of friendship will always prevail. And the story is somewhat brand new. It's Eden Zero, Hiramashima, the creator of Fairy Tail.
Yeah, you've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, his new show. It was in Netflix jail, so it was streaming online. It was obviously being released in Japan. Like they've almost like hit the end. They'll hit the end in like October, I think. Mm-hmm. But they released the first half on Netflix America. So I watched it, and it's just, people hate Fairy Tail. People dislike Hiramashima. They don't like the fact that he reuses character designs. They don't like that his storytelling is mostly one-dimensional. I like it. It was one of the first things that I watched after I watched Attack on Titan, and it was something that I really got into as like a first anime. Mm-hmm. So anyone who watches their first anime is like, I'm sorry if your first anime was Attack on Titan. You have a really hard time watching other things, but like with one of mine being Fairy Tail. Like I know what, you know, good and bad writing is, and Fairy Tail, yeah, it might not be the best, but I still enjoyed it at that time. So I still have a soft spot in my heart for it. And I do find it to be really funny, like cringy funny in a way.
Question.
Sure.
Is your waifu in this one as well?
She is. She absolutely is.
That's how you like it.
Yeah. So Urza Scarlet is my waifu, and she obviously appears in Eden Zero, but she appears as someone named Elsie Crimson, and she is staged as what she like. So far, she's kind of like, oh, the antagonist within the series, not to Shiki and Rebecca, but to what appears to be like the Galactic Federation police. And it's really funny because like Jalal is the dude that's trying to chase Elsie Crimson, and he has like an ether gear on his face that looks like Jalal's like facial tattoo that he has in Fairy Tail. And it's just like so funny. And like obviously like one of the dudes that they pick up, he's like the gray in the situation, but he has blonde hair instead of blue, like black. It's such a funny show, but it's to me obviously, but maybe not to you, but to me it's really funny, but also it's a lot darker than what Hiramashima has ever done in the past.
In like darker, like death. And,
yes.
Yeah. Like
it's darker in terms of death, like people do die. And like Shiki, yeah, it's never happened before. Like even like it took until the very end of Fairy Tail to really see somebody die. And like in this show there people are dying like second episode. So like it's kind of like it's about this kid who lives, his name's Shiki, lives on a planet called Grand Bell, and he essentially, Rebecca is a B-tuber, which is just a vlogger that we would know of, and she's like kind of like trying to see new worlds, and she stumbles upon Grand Bell and she meets Shiki, and then Shiki needs to leave Grand Bell for a specific reason. But he has an ether gear that kind of controls gravity, and people have ether gear. It's kind of like a power, kind of like a magic power, like you would find in Fairy Tail. His is gravity, and other people have different ones. Like the dude that they picked up, that's gray, has the ability to, he's like a mechanic ether gear. Okay. And then it's really crazy. Like I don't want to spoil too much, but like I will say this, like because it does happen in like the first or second episode, so spoiler-ish if you don't want to hear it. But Nick, I'll tell you, Happy gets killed.
What?
Yeah, like he gets ran over by a car. And like the dude who's the gray in this show repairs Happy.
Okay.
And now he's a robot. Well, he's like normal Happy, but yeah. So that happens. And yeah, so yeah, that happens. And like so obviously it's darker, you know. And I'm on episode 7 and I'm loving it. The characters be thick, the story be going well. And yeah, it's a Hiramashima. So if you like him, definitely check it out. If you don't like him, you know, may or may not like it, give it a shot. Let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. That'd be it.
That'd be it?
I think that's it. That's it for me. I mean, I do be watching all the other shows, but we're so far. Yeah, we've been going for a while, but also like they're almost over too. So like once they're all over in a few weeks, I think I'm just gonna do my rundown of my ratings for each one of them, and which ones I dropped, because I did drop a few. So yeah, we'll do that then. But for now, that's gonna be it.
That's gonna be it. That's, you know, that sounds fine, man. You don't gotta watch 37 animes all at once. So
oh, I like it though. I'm here for it. I was caught up to everything. I'm like, damn, what should I watch? So I just started watching Quintessential Quintuplets because I'm also reading the manga for that at night. But with that being said, thank you everyone for coming to the 40th episode of the Aki Culture Club. You can find us at akiculture.club or at Aki Culture Club on social media. Nick's got a new camera. We're going to be splicing and dicing these episodes up and putting them on YouTube and Instagram and our website. And we're going to be throwing them on Reddit. And Nick is going to be the one that's going to be talking to you a lot. I'll be there a little bit too, but Nick is going to be our community manager, talking to all the people and interacting. So if you have a comment, Nick's your boy.
I'll be Aki Nick.
Aki Nick
_Nick on Reddit. That's gonna be my home. Love Reddit.
Yeah, so he'll be the one he'll be like managing the subreddit and doing all that cool stuff. So if you know, you have a question or comment, hit up Nick on Reddit.
Yeah, add me.
Add him.
All right, man. This is a freaking great episode. I think, you know, I loved it. This is so much fun. And it's only one way to end these.
Peace out.
See ya.